Well, hello everyone. Today we are going to do a video that's a little bit different. I've kind of wanted to do this video for a while to show you what it takes to fix appliances. We've done quite a few videos over the past few years, and beyond the videos, we have to repair a lot of appliances at our shop. And I get a lot of comments from people that are trying to fix their appliances and they don't know what they need, even though I kind of show people what's in the videos. I gathered every single tool I could think of that our shop uses on a day-to-day basis, and even not on a day-to-day basis, and it really isn't that much to where you could fix as much as you want to for either a career, a hobby, or just a one-time off, and I'm going to show you everything. So let's go ahead and open our toolbox and start getting to what I want to show you today. So the first thing that we are talking about is a multimeter. It always shocks me how many people don't have one of these when they try to fix an appliance after watching my videos, because this will tell you whether or not you actually need to fix something. Very often people will come to my appliance channel, they will think that they have to spend $20, $30, $100 on a bunch of different parts, and they tend to throw a lot of things at their appliances when maybe they get either the wrong part or they only needed one of a series of things. It's the most important thing you can use other than the next tool that we're going to have. But this does a lot of different things. I have videos on, how you would use these in different settings. Go over it real quick. You turn it on. The continuity setting tells you if the part is just straight up shot in most cases. Tries to send an electrical signal through whatever's in between these two things. Sometimes it gives a tone or noise, which tells you that the part would be working, or if you don't get a tone, then generally it's going to tell you that it's dead. Other things that it can do is tell you voltage, to whether or not you're getting the right amount of volts, either DC or AC through something. And then finally the amp clamp, which we don't use a lot, but this is actually really cool. You just simply put this around whatever electrical wire you need to test the amperage from, and it tells you if you're getting enough electricity to make the part run. So the multimeters is probably the most important thing you will ever need to buy. They start as low as like $10, but they go up from there. I'll have a link to this and of course every other part in the feed. So let's keep going because I have way too many parts to show you. The next thing that is super important is just a screwdriver. If the multimeter tells you what's broken, this gets you to whatever's broken. There's a lot of different screwdrivers out there that you can pick from and use. We tend to like the Irwin. Klein makes another really good one. I'm hoping to make my own custom screwdriver. The only difference between any screwdriver you're going to find is how many different bits it has on it for appliance repair, just stock. Some of the ones we've used in videos when we're desperate will maybe only have a screwdriver with a 1/4-inch hex head bit on it like this. The Irwins here are actually really nice because it has 2 or 3 different types of your Phillips head bits. It has a 5/16 here. I want to say it's a 3/8 here. And then this little dandy bit is your 1/4-inch, which is used a whole lot on a lot of different things. And then it has other bits that we always lose. Usually it has a smaller Phillips head and flat head here, and then sometimes a square bit, which is great for home repair, masonry, stuff like that, but not really used in appliance repair. I wish it had a Torx bit on it, which if we customize and do them, that's what I would want on this. But otherwise, this is definitely our favorite thing. Is I think it's like a 9-in-1 or 11-in-1, which gets more use than say a 6-in-1 ever would. The third most important thing are going to be your putty knives. A lot of appliances tend to have spring clips in them, and this lets you get into them. Most good, even professional techs will walk into a house with just these 3 tools and would be able to at least diagnose what's wrong on probably 80 to 90% of the appliances. So this right here is enough to fix probably most appliances in anybody's house. And a good set, a good working set may cost you all of $50 to get into a literal trade. This isn't like other careers or jobs where you're going to spend a ridiculous amount of money to get into and work. I think maybe all the stuff I'm going to show you is probably worth $1,000, and only like 2 of those tools take up most of that money. But let's keep going. And if you get tired of screwdrivers, a simple drill gun is going to work really, really well. This is just a standard Walmart drill. When I got into appliances, I thought, I had to have, a really high-end Milwaukee or DeWalt, Bosch or something. But come to find out in appliance repair, No one really cares about what you have in terms of brands. The cheaper stuff works well because you're not going to be using it like you are doing carpentry. I just have a simple Hart 1/4" bit in it, and I can use this to zip apart most appliances really, really fast. Any brand is fine. Most professionals, if they do it a lot, they'll maybe invest in a nicer Milwaukee set, but it doesn't matter what brand you have. No one that I think in his appliance repair really are snobs, at least about the drill guns that we use. And of course, with a drill gun, you usually have to have a bit set with it. I just buy whatever I can find on sale. This is a Hart from Walmart. It has all the different bits in it that you would use for a drill gun to fix. It's a different Walmart brand. Anything really works as long as it has the right bit sets you need. The most common ones in the US tend to be the 1/4", the 5/16", and the 3/8. You can get larger ones for certain other heavy duty repairs like 9/16, but generally even that small little case is going to handle most of what you would ever need. Now, if you're ever going to decide to do this for a little bit more than just a DIY and you're doing this either as a hobby or you want to go professionally, one of the things that I suggest getting or looking into is any sort of management software for dealing with appliances, going to different people's houses, fixing things and doing it efficiently. And if you have a chance, make sure to download Field Pulse and look into their services. Field Pulse has a lot of different cool tools that you can use for your business to create estimates, to schedule or dispatch yourself or others to jobs, take care of job management itself, sending invoices and collecting payments from customers when you complete the job, and then customer management. It does a lot of CRM for you. If you end up running service calls, there's a lot of things you have to do when you want to fix an appliance. And you can do that yourself without software, and it takes a lot more time, which is a lot more money. But if you have software like Field Pulse, it makes everything streamlined to get things done quicker so you can spend more time fixing things and then making a lot of money per hour instead of doing the paperwork, which no one likes to do paperwork. Now, of course, you can't use a drill gun and a screwdriver without some sort of ratcheting tool set. This is a standard DeWalt set. This is not mine. This is actually Jeff's. And Jeff will probably kill me that I'm borrowing his for this video, but I'm the guy that runs the company, so I can take whatever I want sometimes. But any standard socket set's going to work pretty good. Usually you have to use these to take out tubs or some of the heavier things inside a transmission. Depending on if you have a transmission problem, you'll use these somewhat frequently, but it just depends. Slip jaw wrench. This is for removing water hoses or taking them on or off. If you're working on a washer, this is probably the next most important tool. It's specifically to those units, but man, these work really, really well to take off the water hoses. Also, most washing machines are going to have different hose connectors that are going to need these. So I would suggest investing in a good pair. Again, if you're going to work a lot on washing machines, best thing to do would be to get like a tool set that's going to have a lot of the smaller tools that we use, such as those, or side snips or needle nose pliers. None of these things matter on brand because you're using them somewhat infrequently and you're not cutting a lot of things or torquing a lot of things all at once. But you definitely have to use them in appliance repair. And of course, I'm pulling all the things that are not in my toolbox, but a simple hammer. This is a plastic hammer. We have used this to beat a lot of washing machines and employees, and it still is working really good. It's a simple plastic hammer. It doesn't damage or scuff the appliance paint nearly as much as a full metal hammer would, but it works really well for smacking different things and people. This is our door boot seal puller. This is not a professional grade one. This is just the cheapest one we could find on Amazon. We don't use this a whole lot because we found out that sometimes this lower grade one doesn't work the best on a lot of the oddball door boot seals. LG has a really good official door boot seal tool, and then Klein has one that is a small portable one that works really well too. I would prefer either of those over this, but the price on this is fractional compared to the LG. And of course, I have the video where I just simply use a wrench and cable ties to take care of a door boot, which works really, really well. It's a little bit slower and it doesn't look very professional, but hey, if it works, it works. One of the tools that I'm going to use in an upcoming video I just got done with is a rotary saw. This is definitely more of a specific tool for specific jobs, but if there's anything that won't agree with you, you can always cut it off. I use this to cut off the back of refrigerator panels to access them to replace insulation. Generally, you can get these at any hardware store. Rotary bit sets are something you need generally for the metal cutoff wheels. But when you work on a lot of different appliances, you're going to find that you'll use polishing wheels to clean up gear case splines in a few different situations. It's not a tool that we use a whole lot, but it's one that is worth me pulling out and showing you on a screen. Probably one of the most unsung things that you're never going to think that you need is a simple condenser brush cleaner. This is one that I've used way too many times in videos and way more in person. It still has lint on it because I don't know how to clean because I'm a man. But when you have to clean your refrigerator, these help out a lot. You can use compressed air, of course. You can use a leaf blower, a vacuum cleaner, but a lot of times physically using this to clean it out works wonders. And I sell these as a set for appliance cleaning kits, which I'll have a link for. But any sort of coil brush to clean either your refrigerator or maybe even your dryer works really, really well, because if you allow a lot of lint into either your dryer or your refrigerator, they tend to break and not work for a long period of time. Maintenance is very, very important. The thing I want to show you is a nice magnetic bit holder or screw holder. This holds basically whatever you put in it. When you're taking apart any sort of appliance, this way you can save all your screws and put them together in different sets. You can usually find these at most hardware stores for a very affordable price. We probably have like 10 of these strewn throughout our shop in different places, but I love using these even though I forget to use these so many times. Now let's talk about probably some of my favorite oddball tools, especially when it comes to electrical repair. Given the fact that appliances use control boards a whole lot more than they used to, there's a lot of little things that you can do with electronics to fix them and save yourself a lot of money. One of the ugly secrets with appliance repair is if you can fix the board instead of replacing it, you can take a part that could cost $200 to $300 and fix it for anywhere from 50 cents up to $5 and save yourself a lot of money or make a lot of money if you're doing it as a professional. So let's look in my electrical toolbox that I've stolen from Jeff and see what's inside. First thing you're going to need to do if you ever want to deal with appliances is take them apart. This is a simple Weller soldering station. This takes off all the soldering points to remove the component that gets damaged. Weller tends to be on the medium to high end of soldering stations. It heats up quick and it works really well. We've used this for I think about a year and a half and have been super happy with this specific unit. But one of the things that we found that's been kind of difficult with soldering in new components is actually taking the soldering off. This is a soldering pump, which I think is really, really cool. Took us a little while to find one of these. Professionals that do a lot of high-end repair will use a Hakko FR301, which runs hundreds of dollars. But these soldering pumps come to the tune of $20 or $30 usually. And essentially what it is a soldering iron that heats the tip up, and then it runs as a vacuum pump. It heats up the soldering point, and then you're able to press the vacuum pump, and then it sucks the solder into it. It works really, really well. It saves us a lot of time and money. And it just resets, and you just keep using it to pull the solder out of whatever trace you're dealing with. One of the things that you have to deal with when doing electrical repair is simply crimping connections. If you're dealing with terminals or connections on either a fridge or a dryer or a washing machine, sometimes you need a simple crimp connector. It was just some sort of Amazon special, but you'd be surprised how often you use these to terminate different color connections depending on size. So this one, it tends to be something we use maybe every week, but you can't really do a lot of this style repair on terminals without it. Strippers, finding a good stripper I've heard is very, very important. It's a Cobalt that we use typically around here. We have different pairs, but generally this style where everything's graduated and it's not the older bulky one matters a lot, because you do have to use these to cut very, very frequently. This style tends to work better than the bulkier ones that look more rectangular, at least in my opinion. Now let's do some other things that I find super, super handy. Thermal gun. This is just a standard thermal gun that tells you the temperature, whatever you're pointing it at. Let's see, can I kill myself with this? Is it going to show up? I don't know if it's showing up or not, but maybe it will on the screen. But this generally shows you different temperatures that you're dealing with to tell you if the dryer you're working on is heating up properly, or the oven, without having to go and touch something. Another temperature thing that we use a lot of, this is an Eli Tech data logger. What you do is set it to run, throw it in whatever appliance you want to, whether it's a fridge or dryer, probably not a stove, definitely not a stove. But you can throw it in a fridge or dryer and it will track the temperature to tell you what the defrost cycle is, or if the dryer is heating up properly or even too much. You can throw it into a computer using the USB function, and then it gives you the total data package with whatever you're dealing with. And these are so handy to have when you have to show a customer whether the unit is cooling down or not. I have a lot of fun with these, and I'm going to use these in videos in the near future. You could call yourself a repair tech if you didn't have any sort of cheater cord. I did a video where I built this specific one. Basically, this is a lamp cord with an on-off switch on it. You plug it into a wall, you plug the wires into whatever you want to work, and then you turn it on, and then the part should work, so you can test it away from the appliance, whether or not the part works or not. It works really, really good with drain pumps. You can just simply put the connectors on the drain pumps and then run the drain pump to see if the pump works or if it doesn't work. This can save you a control board on modern washing machines, because sometimes the pump is so bad it could blow the control board up. So very, very, very cool thing to have. And almost last but not least, this is probably the funnest thing that we have at our shop. I've done a video on it because it's so cool. This is our ESR meter. This is a BK Precision 881. Essentially what this does is it tells you if the capacitor you're dealing with on a control board works or not. You turn it on, you press the leads, and it tells you yes or no based on the scale whether or not it works. This turns diagnostic into what I'd consider a video game, and it's a very, very expensive video game that you make a lot of money on. I do have a full video to show you how this works, where we go over some boards, but what it allows you to do is test all the different capacitors on a board like this and see what works and what doesn't. Now, this board does not work because if you look at the back, it is totally destroyed. It is all shot up like it's a bad Chicago weekend. So this is a board, I don't know why we still have it. This is actually from one of the GE videos that I did where the unit won't spin. Normally you could go in and repair the capacitors on this if it was just a single capacitor, but everything's burnt up on it. It would take a lot of work to do the retraces on this, and it's just going to be better to buy a new board if it's that damaged. Here's a few more mechanical parts. You'd be surprised that a set of Allen keys or hex keys, we don't use these a lot unless it deals with a refrigerator door handle. So we just have one or two of these sets lying around at our shop when we have to put doors on or off. A weekly tool if there ever was one. The trampoline spring tools, we use these to pull the plates off of washing machines. Otherwise, I cosplay as Wolverine with these things. But these allow you to hook down into the wash plates and then pull them out. They can work in a few other situations where you're trying to dig something out. Not something we use all the time, but again, really good for pretending you're Wolverine. One of the final tools that we have is an old classic. This is a spanner nut wrench. This works on all your old classic washing machines, generally your whirlpools, to take the spanner nuts off that would hold the transmissions in place. Again, don't use these too much, but we found out that there are some new units that this is a desperately important thing to use. One of the last tools that I have is if you're dealing with hoses on a washing machine, they always have a tendency to flood and spill out on the ground, and you always want to prevent that. So this is a specialty pliers. They're, I think they're called pinch-off pliers. You basically use these to cut off the flow of water going to, say, a drain pump. So you can just clamp it down and cut the water off instead of having to let it flow or drain everywhere. So if you have an emergency in your shop or tool room, these are really good to have, but again, probably a weekly tool. This is a borescope camera. This is really, really good to get into certain washing machine situations where you don't want to take everything apart, or dryer vents that could be obstructed. This syncs to your cell phone through Wi-Fi, and then it uses this borescope to look at different things you otherwise couldn't get your hands or fingers into. Really useful for customers to document maybe that their dryer vent is clogged and it's not your fault that the thing broke, or that's what they really need to fix, and not, get their appliances repaired 20 times in a row. It's really something in the house because they didn't maintain it very well. But that's what I had today for the tools. I don't know if you like this video or not. Oh, there's one more tool. This is the last tool. This is a tub puller. Getting the tub out of a washing machine is probably the hardest thing that everyone glosses over in appliance repair. All the appliance repair channels will show them pulling the drum out, and being free and easy, and that's never the case. They're usually lying about it, or it's a brand new unit. A lot of times the baskets are welded on because of rust or detergent or other such things, plus they're pressed in by very, very heavy machines. This essentially screws down into the plate wherever there are attachment points. It holds down, and then you can take a standard socket wrench, drill it down, and then it will pull the basket up. It's much like a engine puller that you would have in automotive repair. But this is easily the most specialty tool that we deal with. It's literally just for Whirlpool units, but if you have a Whirlpool unit, you could not survive without it. So there's everything that I have today, guys. I hope that this video finds you well. I'm going to have a link to every single tool that I used in this to kind of explain things. Again, appliance repair starts out very easy. This is probably one of the most expensive tools. It's a little bit over 100, and then the BK Precision's over 2, but everything else is really affordable. I had to spend more time pulling the items that we use for the video than actually doing the video, because it's really not that hard. And if you ever want to learn appliance repair, just keep watching the channel. I will have more videos on how to get into the business in the future. Make sure to check out Field Pulse if you ever want to start fixing appliances in people's house. Have a great day.